Fires a long one.
Oh,
Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of All Nat, brought to you by OTS. I'm your host, Natalie, but most people call me Nat. And today I'm excited. I'm recording immediately after the game one of Warriors Grizzlies, second round NBA playoffs, Western Conference. And I have Sharon Brown, beat writer for the Memphis Flyer. And on Twitter, I'm sure you guys see her on the TL, gives great coverage of the Grizzlies. You may have just caught me and her going back and forth on the timeline, but you know what? It's still all love between Black women. So even when we have our differences about basketball, we're still going to collaborate and put out this content together and talk to you about hoops, because she knows basketball, I know basketball, and together you're going to get a great conversation today. So Sharon, thank you. Welcome to the show. We've been trying to do this for a while, so I'm happy we're finally able to make it happen, and it's because both of these teams are in the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's just like we can talk, say whatever, but my thing is when other people try to get in, try to make it, but we don't have any beef or whatever. I mean, whatever.
Right. We just don't agree on a certain point, but it's all good.
Yeah.
And also, Believe in Grizzlies. That's your podcast, right? So
Yep.
Let them know all the places where they can find you, because sometimes I'd be forgetting at the end to have you replug yourself and your stuff. So I want people to know where they can read your writing and find your content.
Okay. So I'm a beat writer for the Memphis Flyer, memphisflyer.com. I had a podcast called Believe, BLEAV, Believe in Grizzlies, and you can find it on Apple, Spotify, anywhere. And then you can find me on Twitter at Sharon Brown.
No doubt. Definitely read Sharon's work. She's a very good writer, and she gives really good coverage of the Grizzlies. And I know like a lot of Warriors fans may not be fans of the Grizzlies, but not all Warriors fans hate the Grizzlies. So if you're trying to get up on like your NBA and also want to know about the Grizzlies, definitely you should be tuned in with Sharon. And just in general, like support, you know how I feel, support Black women, support our content, support writers. She knows her stuff. So anyway, let's get into it, because we're going to recap this game and then also talk about like what our predictions are for the series. So we already now know like Warriors took game one, but it's still best of four. So how did you feel about the game, and was this the result you were expecting? And I mean, what do you think, like, I don't know if did you attend like the post game and hear like all the different comments from the players?
Well, I had post game on Zoom. I was in my car.
Okay.
I only was able to hear because my car and the Bluetooth thing messed up where I didn't get a chance to hear all the players, but I'm going to go back and listen to it.
Is it recorded?
Yeah, they recorded it, and it's going to be on YouTube. And then sometimes they'll send me the quotes, when they, transcribe it and everything.
So what are your thoughts about the game? Yeah.
The game, I thought initially going in, I thought the Warriors was going to win the game because of how the Grizzlies played, Friday. They didn't have enough time or whatever, going from one series to the other. But anyways, I thought they played well. And it's just like, it was a good game because you really didn't know who was going to win.
Now you were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. And then it came down to a last second, but the Grizzlies had their chances, but they didn't do it. So on to the next game.
What was the atmosphere like in the building?
It was so loud in there. It was so loud. And Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm so happy that he had a good game. I think he had 33 points and 10 rebounds because, he didn't play well the other series until game 6. But I'm glad that he was able to, do his thing.
Okay. So how does this compare like to the grit and grind era in terms of being in the playoffs and like the electricity in the building? Is it comparable? Is the city more excited for this team? Is it the same?
Well, they were excited for the grit and grind Grizzlies, but with this team, first of all, no Grizzlies team has ever been number 2 in the West. And then they started off because like, they had home court advantage because they were number 2. And then it's just like this Grizzlies team just keep breaking records. I mean, they have broken records all through the season. John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain. I mean, they just keep breaking records with their play. But I think everybody is excited. And then like Memphis has never had a superstar like John Morant ever. So everybody is excited because people who don't watch basketball, watching basketball now in this city, they're excited for the Grizzlies.
Okay. Jaren Jackson, he shot the ball well tonight. Do you think he can continue that over the course of a series? I mean,
I think he can, especially going to the basket, because it's just like he's a walking mismatch. If he continue to be confident, I think it's just like it's going to be a problem for the Warriors.
Okay. So I mean, I know he can definitely get like some shots at the rim, right?
Yeah.
And obviously just the length is going to be a challenge for the Warriors in this series, but he was shooting the 3 ball particularly well tonight. And I mean, for this season, he shot a little lower than his normal percentages, but I think he's around like a mid 30s or a little bit around there for his career in terms of the 3. So he can shoot them at a decent clip. So, but he hadn't been to this point.
Right.
Like I said, he's a little lower for his career totals this season. So do you think this is like, okay, Jaren has showed up and now his shot is back? Or, I mean, obviously the Warriors are going to try to limit that, going forward, or do you think, I mean, what is your expectation? Do you think that it'll be here now for the whole series, or what do you think? I mean, you've been watching them, so I don't know, was there something different about tonight? Was it like the Warriors coverage, so he was just open, or did he seem more confident tonight? Was he just stepping into it? I don't know enough about this team to know like why he's been struggling with his shot.
Well, I mean, he seemed more confident, after the last game, and they were finding him. And then again, it's just like he really wasn't in foul trouble. So the plan is to like keep him on the floor. So when they keep him on the floor, they have a chance to win.
Okay.
Especially like defensively, but when his offense is going, that's a good sign too.
Okay. Ja hit a few in this game too. He didn't shoot them that well last series. And last year in the play-in, that was one of the things the Warriors like let Ja shoot the 3s because they didn't think that he'd be able to keep making them, and he did, along with some others, and it really burnt us, and we lost that play-in game. So I don't know if they're going to make the adjustment for that, but right now the Warriors are still daring Ja to shoot.
He's gonna keep shooting. He's gonna keep shooting.
Okay. And you're confident in him making them, like, because he's going to have to shoot them well enough over the course of the series, especially if he takes away his ability to get to the rim.
Well, I mean, it's just he got to the rim pretty well. Because like the last shot, those are shots he usually makes.
Right.
He made one, against the Wolves last series. He makes those all year. But he's gonna keep shooting the 3. He's gonna keep doing it. If they, leave him open, he's gonna shoot it. Then maybe next time he'll, try to find his teammates more, but he's going to keep shooting it because that's what the coach tells them. If they're open, shoot the 3.
Okay. So this game was kind of I don't know what the right word is. Is it contentious? I'm not sure, but Draymond Green got thrown out. So it's a topic of conversation. I'm sure it's going to like be a topic on like talk shows tomorrow, but obviously Warriors fans didn't like it, and I understand from the Grizzlies fans perspective they felt like Draymond committed 2 dirty plays. The refs did too, or not dirty, but that he fouled 2 times and they were flagrant, so he got thrown out right before the second half. And so now that's something like, do you think that's something that like the Grizzlies are going to be mindful of in terms of trying to maybe get him like into like getting some more flagrants? Because that's a thing some teams do use as a strategy versus the Warriors, like trying to get Draymond to pick up, because now he has 2 flagrant points and you can only get 2 for suspension.
I don't think they would try to do that because
okay.
I mean, really, I mean, I don't think they're that type of type of team to try to, because it's just like it didn't happen with Patrick Beverly last series. You know how he talked or whatever. I mean, Draymond is Draymond, and he's close with players on the court. I don't think they would, try to do that.
So not intentionally.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So, but he was notably missing for the second half. The Warriors still pulled out the W, but what did you think? Like, we didn't go to start with Jordan Poole. We went and started with Gary Payton, who to this point does seem to do like the best job on Ja in terms of like staying in front of him. But I don't know if they're gonna like do that. So I felt like it did seem like the Grizzlies on their end, they were trying to make sure that like Ja didn't have to guard Steph on the other side. So what I guess I'm asking, what adjustments do you think we might see from them for the next game in terms of like what was working and what wasn't working?
Their defense need to be a little better because the offense was clicking. I still think that they shot some threes when they shouldn't have shot threes. They could have went to the paint, but I think they just need to tighten up some things on their defense because I mean it was working. I mean you still see when they got down, they came back, but it's just like they're a resilient team. They're gonna come back regardless of who it is. They come back. But it's just the fact that it's a few things that they need to clean up.
Okay.
Especially on the defensive end. Because it seems like sometimes it's like in the fourth quarter, that's when they, put the defense on like really well. And I thought Taylor Jenkins, some of the lineups that he had, like in the fourth quarter, he shouldn't have started with them. And I think that really hurt them as well. And then they got to make their free throws.
Right. Who did you disagree with in terms of the lineup when you said like he thought maybe when you thought that?
Because in the end, like that lineup when I think he had Conchar, Tyus, and a few more other players. It was too late in the game for them players to be in there. So and he should have brought Jaren Jackson Jr. out sooner, and then he should have had Brandon Clark in there as well.
Okay. I thought, Tyus was really good for you guys though in the last series. So I've been pretty impressed with him. I mean, he's a solid player, but I mean he's hit like some big shots and just seems to like steady the ship. And when you have him and Ja on the court together, I actually think sometimes they have some more options. They can do a lot more in terms of like playmaking and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's the direction he was going, but Clark has just been difficult to handle in the last series. I can see he's going to be someone we got to keep our eye on this series. So what did you think about Bane's performance tonight?
I don't know. Is okay. So like with Bane, it's like, how he was shooting in Minnesota. Usually he don't shoot like that at home. And then it looked like something was wrong with his back or something. Because I saw a pad on his back or whatever. I think maybe he tweaked his back or something, but I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, so, it was a quiet night for him, but 3 of 10, so 30%, 1 of 5 from 3. But I think some of that has to do with who he has to defend. It's not easy to be out there chasing Steph and Clay running around, and they were in foul trouble tonight, but like, having to guard those guys and then go back on the other end and perform. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it is harder. It's a different kind of guarding them is different than guarding anyone else. So it could have tired him out a little bit. So I mean,
I don't think that really bothered him because all season long he shoots better on the road than he does at home.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes he struggled at home because like DeAnthony Melton, like last series, he didn't do much and he didn't play much, but he came in today and he played really, really well. But like Bane, like all season long, he didn't really, it's like when he shoot all those threes, it's usually on the road because sometimes he struggled when he's home. Okay. But like I said, I think there was a back issue with him because I saw a pad or something on his back.
I'd be curious to see how he goes the rest of the series because I know this season, the times that we've played, there hadn't been a game yet where like it was like our 3 guard lineup where it's Steph and Clay and Jordan. Like we hadn't had all of them at one time. And so so far that's like a newer lineup for us. We only we pulled it out a lot in Denver. We ran it like a couple of times in the regular season, but then Steph got hurt. So it's new to most teams. So they have to kind of figure out how to guard it. So Memphis seemed to struggle with that a little bit tonight. But the postseason is all about adjustments and teams figuring out each other. So I'd be curious to see how they handle that going forward. Ja also looked like he got a little banged up tonight and was laboring. Did you hear anything? Do you think I'm sure he'll be okay. He's kept playing, but do you think that, I don't know what happened.
I think like Draymond, when they went up for the ball, Draymond somehow hit Ja failed or whatever. But I think he'll be fine. He's gonna play through it.
Yeah.
Like he did the last series.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was a very close game. Warriors pulled it out by 1. Didn't help that Clay missed his free throws. So just made the game even tighter than it needed to be. So definitely a more stressful game than I was looking for game 1. But at least as it stands right now, the Warriors did their job and they came in and they took 1 game. So now they have to try to just at least defend home court. I mean, obviously every team is trying to win both games, but at least what they say when you're the team with the lower seed and you don't have home court, you got to go in and get 1 game. So the Warriors have, I know earlier in the season, I think the Grizzlies are one of the teams that beat us at home this year, but the Warriors have the 2nd best home court record in the league. So they're really hard to play and beat at home. So what do you think about that with, now with the Warriors taking this first game?
Well, I think that the Grizzlies gonna probably, if they want to win the series, they have to beat the Warriors at home. They have to at least, take 1 game at home. And it's just like, and I think they're pretty comfortable with playing in the Chase Center.
Okay. That's fair. I would just say, my rebuttal to that, they've never played in Chase with this squad fully healthy. So it's a different challenge.
Still Memphis got the edge, especially if Steven Adams is back. They got the edge, with the offensive rebound.
You think Steven Adams is going to play in this series?
Yes, I do. Yeah, he probably should be back. Probably game 3 or 4.
Okay.
I think he's going to play.
So Warriors, people tend to think because of our length, we're going to struggle, but we've actually been like a good rebounding team. So we did win that battle tonight. Even without Steven Adams, you guys are a taller team. We probably shouldn't have won that battle in theory, but we did. And that's pretty common with us though when we play. Like Otto got 8 boards. That's not abnormal for him. He's a great rebounder. And we didn't have Dre on the court, who also is like one of our good rebounders for the second half. So but if you put Steven Adams on the court, that's gonna really be an advantage for the Warriors guards. So I'll be interested to see if Jenkins is really gonna play him. I have a feeling.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play him because it's just like in the regular season, I think he played the Warriors or whatever. But Steven Adams had the best offensive rebounding in the league, and it's just like when Steven Adams is in, that helps Ja because his screen assists are off the chain.
Yeah,
it helps Ja because
screens.
Yes, Ja.
Sure.
Ja shoots better in the paint when Steven Adams is on the floor.
Right, but then that creates an advantage for the Warriors guards to attack him, and what is he gonna do? So
the Grizzlies are good at switching as well.
Not with Adams out there.
They do. They can switch.
They can, but it's not going to be effective. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of Steph pull any of those guys, they're going to be able to go at him, and there's not going to be much he can do. So I kind of think he's not going to be that big of a factor in this series, sort of like the last series, but we'll see. Obviously, I could be wrong. You know this team better than me. What was your prediction coming into the series? Because I know
Grizzlies 7.
Okay, so
That's
you
what I
kind of
said.
changed, because before that, when we had talked, you had told me like 5 or 6, and I was like,
Oh no. I said 5 or 6 for the that was for the Wolves.
oh, okay. I thought you had thought that for the Warriors
Oh
before.
no. That was for the
Okay.
Wolves, but this one I said Grizzlies 7. I still
Okay.
stand by that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think the Warriors will win it in 6. So that's my prediction. I think they can win it in 5, but I'm
Nah,
to be realistic
no,
and
it's
say
not.
6.
It's not.
If we had home court advantage, I would say Warriors in 6, but because we don't, I'm saying 7. So, but we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I don't think, excuse me, I think the Grizzlies, there's been a lot of talk about like their experience. And I know, like, from a lot of Grizzlies fans' perspective that I've talked to, they're like, well, yeah, we got our experience last year. We went to the postseason, even though we didn't win. We did the play-in, we played the Jazz. But I still think there's like you kind of go, then you get a little further, at least just based on the way it's been for teams of the past. So I'm not.
Did you see what Draymond Green said about them in his post-game presser?
What?
Oh, I will have to find it, but he was basically, giving them props, even though that they are a young team. He said that they are, confident, and it was some other stuff he was saying about them that I thought was pretty cool. Well, because like Draymond,
they are confident.
but Draymond, he said Draymond, he don't tell it like it is regardless. He said they're unbothered by anything. He said that a team could go up like 12 points, but what they do, they're gonna come back or whatever. But he was just giving them props.
Yeah, I think that the Grizzlies are a great story. I think that and a great team. I just think that there's still some experience that they have to still get. That's to me just based off of like NBA history. A lot of people compare them to like the Warriors in 2016. But the Warriors, by the time they got to 2016, they had success in the postseason. Like they had like won a first round, and then they got to a second round and then got knocked out in the second round. Then the year after that, they actually lost in the first round, but they went 7 games. So they kind of took their playoff lumps for like a couple of years before they then made like a deep run. And so I think when people say that like they're still just have like some experience to gain, I think that's all people mean. But sometimes I feel like people think like they're saying like wait your turn, but it's just that's kind of been like how it's always been in NBA history.
But just because that's how it always been, that doesn't mean that it should continue to be that way. Because like Draymond said, it's just like they are a young team, but they are unbothered about a lot of stuff, and people just don't like that.
Lots of teams are unbothered. I don't think it changes the experience factor, and I think their lack of experience showed in the last series, right? I mean, a lot of people, I thought that was going to be a long series, a 6 or 7 game series. So that's
it was a long series because it's not Minnesota was inexperienced as well, but it's just like the matchup. The playoff is all about matchups.
I know.
And Minnesota was a bad matchup for them.
Yeah, so
it was bad.
It's just they kind of bad matchup.
They pulled it off, but some people think that. Me personally, I think that they have some advantages against the Warriors, and the Warriors have advantages against them. That's why it's going to be a good series. It's going to be a tight series. That's why I think we're going to go to 7.
But I think that going into the series, that people in the Minnesota series, people didn't think that it was going to be a tight series. I saw a lot of Grizzlies in 5 and dismissal of the Wolves. Not saying you did that. That's what I saw, and I was like, I don't know why people think this. Like the Wolves are not a good matchup for the Grizzlies, and the Wolves actually led for most of the series, right? Like they are an inexperienced team, and they are an incredibly low IQ team, and like a better team wouldn't have just allowed what kept happening to happen. So I don't say that like in a way, I know like it may come off like I'm trying to knock the Grizzlies. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm saying you saw some of that inexperience show with some of the shot selection, like the things that they did.
But Minnesota
That's
did
what I
that
mean
all
by
season.
inexperience.
Minnesota did that all season.
Right.
All
Like,
season
that's
long.
the inexperience showing.
Yeah, all season long where it's just like they'll be up and then like they give up leads. They did that all because
Right.
like Friday, like when the Grizzlies were down or whatever, going into the fourth quarter down 10. Just because of what happened like the last couple of games, the Grizzlies gonna win this game because Minnesota don't know how to keep the lead.
Sorry, Shai. So I know that I interrupted your thought, and it was probably your train of thought. But we were talking about inexperience and the fact that like I think the Wolves, they lose leads all season.
Right.
I agree with that. I think that their inexperience showed too. That's all. So when I was watching that series, I felt like Memphis was a smarter team, and I felt like you guys had a better coach, but I felt like you saw the inexperience of both teams, right? And so Memphis is a smarter team, so they might figure it all out and keep rolling and get all the way to the finals. I don't know, but I feel like because I saw some of their inexperience, like I think like ultimately the inexperience is what's going to stop them.
See, black people always knock the youth, but sometimes the youth know what they be talking about, know what they're doing.
But I'm not knocking youth.
No. But no, I'm saying it's just people saying that, people they're inexperienced, but they may figure it out.
They might, but I think when people pick against them, that's why, because just when you're betting, I mean, I don't bet, but like the numbers and history has shown us that usually the inexperience doesn't win out, So, but also aside from that, I just think that the Warriors are the better team. Like people may not agree, but I think the Warriors have the best player in the series. I think that the Warriors are the championship team. I think that they're the better team. The Warriors were not intact for most of the season. And when they were hot, they came out hot and they were winning. And then they lost some of their players, and that happened. So, so aside from just their inexperience, I do think the Warriors are the better team. But I think that people, had forgotten that because of like where we ended up finishing in the standing. So I mean, right now we are the Vegas betting favorites, the Warriors. So but it doesn't mean that they'll win. But I think after seeing like a first round series and like seeing the Warriors fully healthy, and I think for a lot of people that's what it was. It's like, well, we don't know what the Warriors are going to look like because they haven't had their pieces all season, and now people are seeing it, so they're like, okay, yeah, they sort of just still look like that team. So I'm sure the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe, will give the Warriors like a challenge because they're a very good team and they're a very talented team, and they don't give up. They're not like when they do down, like you said, they're not the kind of team that's going to be like, we're down, but I'm just saying, I think ultimately I'm going to lean to the experienced team, the team that I think is the better team. But we'll see what happens. That's my opinion.
But yeah, I feel like the Grizzlies, they're not gonna back down or whatever. They're gonna go out. They lost game one. Like like some of the players said, they lost game one last series. So they're gonna regroup and try to figure it out and win game two. Because like you gotta go and
but the Wolves, the Warriors aren't the Wolves. It's a different
animal. I know they're not, but anything, you just can't look ahead. It's gotta be one game at a time for anything. It has to be one game at a time. Just because you won game one or lost game one, that doesn't mean the series is over. It's not over. Games still need to be played. So their mindset is one game at a time. That's what their coach tells them. One game at a time.
For sure. I mean, you have to believe in yourself. You can't go into a series thinking you're not going to win. So I'm not suggesting that they should believe that, or that they shouldn't want to win or anything like that. It's just, in my opinion, I don't think that I don't think their defense is that good enough. And I don't think that offensively they can match the Warriors. For the first round series, they had the best half court offense. You know, you have 3 shooters, as in Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole. It's hard to match that offensively.
But you can't. They had like they had top 10 defense and top 10 offense. They were second in the regular season. They had the second best offense in the entire league.
Right, but that's Clay missed the first 48 games of the season, and then Stephen Curry missed like a large chunk of the final. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't change that the Warriors are a better offensive team. They didn't have their pieces together. So, I mean, I don't think it's crazy for me to say that they can't match those 3 guys offensively. Like, Steph and Clay are 2 of the best shooters to ever play the game. That's not a disrespect to them, but like, Bane is y'all best shooter, but you don't have like 2 other guys that can shoot at that level. That's what I'm saying. So,
yeah, but like if they like win the paint, they have a chance. They can shoot some threes and they win the paint, they have a chance. But tonight, Golden State won the paint.
right. And that's the thing, though. The Warriors, they don't need their shots to be falling by threes, though. They can, like, people always talk about the Warriors and think they're just a 3-point shooting team, but they've always got a lot of points in the paint. So they can do both. And like, if you put a player like Adams on the floor, Jordan Poole and Stephen Curry are going to exploit that mismatch. And then like Andrew Wiggins, he's a great cutter. So is Klay Thompson. Those guys can get into the paint. And then you also have like them who can shoot. So anyway, just since this postseason has started, the Warriors have had the best half court offense. The Grizzlies are not a good half court team. They need to score in transition. But like, if the Warriors play fast, they can play that game, but they also can play in the half court, something that to this point, the Grizzlies haven't demonstrated the ability to do. And that's not me just saying it. We've seen it, and like the numbers reflect it. So I don't know what their counter is going to be. That's all.
I mean, I just think that they are figured out because it's just like they should have won this game. They could have won this game, but that, should give them confidence. Well, hey, we hung with them. We could have won this game or whatever. Just going to give them confidence to figure out things. And then I think Taylor Jenkins may tinker with his lineups, again.
For sure. It's going to be like definitely to see like what each coach is going to do, because I actually think Kerr should start Jordan Poole. And I know like part of the reason he doesn't is for defensive reasons in this matchup. But when Steph and Jordan are on the court together, it's really hard to stop. And I don't know that you're going to get a lot more games where Steph is like in foul trouble, which, affects his ability to be aggressive. So maybe they will. But like, if he's not in foul trouble, it just becomes harder. So, we'll see. But you said you have a 7. So that's them winning 4 of the next 6. So, okay. Yeah.
Because I think they're going to come out and win game 2. And I think they're going to take one in San Francisco. I would love to go out there too.
To be determined.
It would be a good experience.
Yeah. Have you been out there before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I've been to Memphis before, but not for a game. I have to think about whether that's a wise decision for me to do, but I do like the city of Memphis.
And
the food is great.
It's just like if you come or whatever, no one is gonna bother you or whatever. You can cheer on your Warriors all you want.
Some arenas are friendly to other people coming in, and some are not.
It's just like some people would be this way, but it's like plenty of fans. As long as you don't like start talking crazy, they're not gonna bother you.
We'll see.
They won't bother you.
We'll see. I don't know. But I love the food in Memphis. I had some really good food when I was there. So I definitely would not mind going back. It's one of the arenas I want to get to and visit though. So we'll see. But definitely have been to Chase many times. And I want to make it out there again this year. I don't know when. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this series. So like any special coverage you're gonna do, like on the podcast or like?
Well, yeah, I got some surprises. I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
Or whatever. No, I'm new to that, but I don't want to give it away.
That's fine. So y'all should definitely check it out to see who Shy is gonna have on. I'm sure Grizzlies fans are also gonna like really be excited about that. So should be good. You've had like some
Warriors fan gonna be excited too.
They are? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying, you know, right now things are a little testy between between the two fan bases. So, but you have a job to do. You cover the team. So I know that like you're just presenting the information, but you know, fans don't look at it like that. Like you become the enemy once you're like, you know, covering the opposing team, if you're a fan of the opposing team. So that just comes with the territory. You know that.
Yeah.
So you do have to get out to Chase though. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be so cool if I could do that.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Look, I need to start a GoFundMe for that.
Did you ever go to Oracle before it closed down?
No, I did not. I've never been to California before, so.
Really? Wow. Really? That's amazing.
I plan on going one day, Lord willing.
Okay, guys. Well, you heard it here first. Sharon picks the Grizzlies in 7. I picked the Warriors in 6. We'll see which one of us are right. Yeah. Of course, I think I'm going to be right, but she thinks she's going to be right.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
We don't back down. So something that I do want to talk about a little bit, because we just had like a little back and forth on Twitter. And so the Grizzlies have become a team that have become a little bit polarizing, right? So some people really love that they like talk a lot. And, you know, Ja was like, what do you say? We run up chimneys or we climb up chimneys. And they, you know, they're like, whatever, like we're confident, we're proud, we don't care, we don't back down from anyone. And so they've been very boisterous, and it's rubbed some people the wrong way and some people really love it. So, you know, I know today, like when we were going back and forth, you were saying like, well, what's the difference? Like the Warriors, they do the same thing. Other teams do the same thing. Like let players, you know, talk. So what do you think in general? Like, do you feel like people are just hating? That's why they don't like that they're saying all of this?
Basically, because they're young. See, here's the thing. I don't mind that Draymond's talk. I actually love it. I love Draymond Green. I love that he talks shit. I love that. When any player do it or whatever, I have no problem with what they do. But my thing is when people get on Twitter and say that, well, Ja, he shouldn't be on Twitter talking or whatever. Well, how can you criticize Ja being on Twitter talking and you're doing the same thing? That's hypocritical to me. When you're on the Twitter was telling a player where he's a grown man. If he wants to get on Twitter, that's fine. But people have a problem with it because they are a young team. If they were a team, say for instance, if the Warriors players did that, people wouldn't have a problem with it. People had a problem with the Lakers. You know, they talking crazy, but the Lakers won championship as well. But I don't see anybody bringing that up. But it's just like it is what it is or whatever. But my thing is this: let these players do what they want to do. And off the court, these people are friends or whatever. That shit don't bother them or whatever. They still, you know, because like Draymond, he's close with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Xavier Tillman. He's close with them, but fans get into it over simple shit that don't even make any sense to me. Let these players talk. Let them do. You want to hate on a team because they talk shit? Everybody talks shit. That's what people do in basketball. That's what they do, regardless.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily true. I think people used to get on the Warriors a lot for like their showboating. So
it's dumb to get on the Warriors for showboating. I don't like that either.
Right.
I don't like that either. Let them do it.
I think there are people who just don't like that. And I mean, I think it's okay for them to feel like that, you know, like it's not.
But why don't you get on Twitter and criticize these players for doing it? That's just
because people have their opinions and some people are not receptive. Some people think that like you should always exhibit humility. I don't mind it. But I think what we were disagreeing on is just the idea that like, I feel like putting it all together and saying what's the difference. I think there is a difference. And for people, there are some people who feel like you earn the right to talk, whether you think that's right or not. There are a lot of people who think like that, like you're proven, you've accomplished some stuff. So yeah, you're going to carry yourself a certain way. And there's a lot of people who feel like when you're on the come up and you haven't got there yet, that you should exhibit humility. Whether that's right or wrong, that's just how.
Here's the thing: just like Ja said, his parents tell him, they put on their pants one leg at a time, just like the other people.
I hear you.
They have the right to say whatever. And then, like Ja Mom said, he's beneath no one. But the thing about it is this: they still respect these players, but they respect them. But it's not like they're really dogging them. This people talk shit in basketball. People talk shit in sports all the time. They talk shit, all the time.
They do.
That's what they do.
Not
but when fans get involved, that's beyond the problem. Because, like, say for instance, if players got beef, they're talking to each other on Twitter or this and that and the other. I hate when fans get involved trying to talk. Let them players do what they need to do. Because you know what? They probably texting each other, laughing at our dumb ass.
That's part of the fan experience. That's all a part of Twitter. I don't think that we have to shut up and not have to.
No, I'm just saying it's just that people make themselves involved and then like tagging players in your conversation. That's odd too.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't do the tagging of players, but I mean, like, you can't bring the talk to Twitter, which is what the Grizzlies do, and then not expect fans or people to react.
But they don't care. But my thing is this: it's
right, but like the fan, like I'm just saying, you can't bring it to a public forum and then think people aren't going to comment on it. Like,
it's the fact that they don't care. And then sometimes they go back at fans or whatever. But the thing about it, to say that they shouldn't be on Twitter talking, that's crazy, because we are on Twitter talking. They have a right to be on there just like we do.
Right, but I'm just saying it rubs people the wrong way. Like, whether it should or shouldn't, that's like a personal thing, right? Like,
why should it rub people the wrong way? It
doesn't rub me the wrong way, but it rubs people the wrong way. And
why is that?
I don't know. I'm not those people. You would have to ask them. But people preferring players to be humble, that comes from a lot of things, right? It depends on who's saying.
Okay, just because a player is on Twitter, that don't mean that they're humble.
Ja is the way, like you said, Ja's family raised him, right?
He's a humble kid though, because he's all
I'm saying is my family raised me differently, right? Everyone gets raised differently and is taught different things. So for someone who might be raised differently and was taught something, the way he comes off might be off-putting. That's it. And like, that's okay. That's their opinion. It doesn't mean that he's a bad person. And if he's not their cup of tea, he's not their cup of tea. But they're going to express their opinion the same way that he expresses his opinion.
Right. And that's fine. But to me, it's hypocritical when you're on Twitter where you're saying, well, he shouldn't get on Twitter and do this. He need to do this. He need to do that. Why are you complaining about him being on Twitter and you're doing the same thing? That's what needs to be.
Yeah, I think
because they have a right. The players have a right to be on Twitter. They have a right to express whatever they want to express.
People have a right to not like it. That's all.
But why not like it?
But because why do they have to? They don't have to like it.
but I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, it's just like, why are you? But it just is to me. I think
the same reason. It's like, why do we like music? Someone puts out music. I like it. You don't. It's like anything. Like, people are free to like what they like and not like what they don't like. And
players, these players can be on Twitter and say what they want to say.
They surely can. But like, they're also, when you come on Twitter and when you come to the public, and in general, when you're in the public spotlight, you're also, right or wrong, gonna be subject to
you're gonna get criticism. But my thing is the criticism. But a lot of people, they're hypocrites. Okay. That's what I'm saying. My thing is, I don't like the hypocrisy.
Well, I don't think it's an uncommon thing in sports, and I don't mean that just in basketball. When sports and athletes talk shit, right? And if they lose or things don't go the way they said, or it goes down in embarrassing fashion, they get clowned for it. That's not
They get clowned.
right. That's not new and specific to the Grizzlies. It's
No,
not.
but that's different. That's different. People don't like the fact that these players get on Twitter and
it's
talk.
not really different. That's what it is with the Grizzlies. They've been talking.
Yes, it is. It is different because because people they was like, well, because somebody put out some job had this amount of tweets, then this amount of shots. Who does that? Why?
Okay. I'm not one of those people, and like those are like.
I mean, I know that, but I'm just thinking. I'm saying that people, like you lose whatever you get clown. That's fine.
Right,
That's
but
fine.
I'm saying that's what this is really about. The thing is, right, when you look, it's like when the Houston Rockets, right, were playing the Warriors, and what is his name now? I'm forgetting the guy. Capella.
Mm-hmm.
When Capella was in post games, and he's like, yeah, we want the Rockets. We want them. I mean, we want the Warriors. We want them. And like Chris Paul turned and looked at him and was like, and then they ended up losing. And what did people do? They pulled up that clip. They were like, yeah, you wanted the Warriors. You get what you asked for. Or there was the clip of James Harden once being like, forget the Warriors. They're not that good. Right. So that's fine. You should have confidence in yourself. You should believe in yourself, but understand that when you put things into the public for everyone to see, and then you don't back it up and don't do it, people are going to come for you. And that's all this is with the Grizzlies. They've been talking all season.
They backed it up. And they backed it up all season.
Okay. And so they need to back it up again. And if they don't, people are going to talk.
But what have they been saying in the playoffs? It's just just like with the thing with Cat, that wasn't specifically at the fans. That was at Cat because of what he said. So
right, of course, but people are gonna still react to it.
I know that, but it's just like they were like, well, Ja did this. So if Ja had said the same thing and Cat posted that video, people would have been on Cat's side. Well, oh, he clowned him and all that. That's why I say it's hypocrisy. Because
I saw Cat getting clowned for his talking to, and I saw Pat Beverly. I mean, the Wolves got clowned a lot. It wasn't like a one-sided thing. They were getting it oh, y'all did all this. Cat, you was talking all that to lose. They were that's what I'm saying. This is equal opportunity. This is not specific to the Grizzlies. If you're a team that talks a lot and you don't back it up, people are going to come at you. That's why when the Warriors lose, they come at us because they think we showboat. They come at Draymond, and that's just a part of it. So I don't get upset when people are upset with my team, but that's what I don't understand. It's at least I feel what I keep hearing from Grizzlies fans is they're upset that people don't like the team. Y'all talk a lot. What do you expect?
But the thing about it is this is just for some people. It's just crazy. You don't like a team because they talk a lot? Why?
We all have reasons why we don't like things. I'm not here to evaluate people's stuff, but I'm just saying it's not common. And this is an age-old thing in sports, in any sport. A lot of people didn't like Muhammad Ali because he talks a lot. A lot of people don't like, what's his name? The boxer now, the one that's retired, Floyd, because he talks a lot.
They talk a lot.
Right. This is not a new thing. So I guess I just don't understand why people are just oh my God, y'all are hating on the, no, this is people. They do not like people who talk a lot. This is not a new thing. It's not new.
People talk shit in basketball all the time.
In sports, and the best
they do it all the time. The best
ones back up their talk, and I have all respect for anyone who's look, I'm great, I'm the best, I'm gonna win this. Michael Jordan said it. He was just if you talk and then you go and you do what you have to do, then it's cool. That's and that's what I'm saying. So I don't have a problem with it, but people cannot be surprised that if they lose, that people are going to comfort them because they also invited it. And that's all I'm saying. So that's what this is about. I don't think it's some deep, the thing about it is again, they open this door. They get out there, they say, we want all the smoke. They go out there, they throw shots. Like, I just don't act like, it's like, let's stop acting like they're innocent parties here.
Nobody said that they were innocent, but it's just like
So
they have the right. They have the right to talk shit just like
do.
everybody else.
They do, and people have the right to not like it, and so whether you agree with them liking it or not, they have the right to not like it. We all have the right to not like, listen, not, so that's my only thoughts on that. But I really personally don't have a problem with them talking. Before the season started, or I think it was in the offseason, Ja was like, he's a top 5 point guard. And I remember I laughed. I was like, come on, you're not there yet. And I named the players who I thought were better. And you know what? He came in and showed us he was top 5. And I tweeted and I was like, respect to Ja, because he said he's top 5 and he came in here and showed us. I respected that. I like that. So I personally talk the utmost shit on Twitter. I'm not someone who has a problem with people talking. That is not an issue for me. But I also understand people finding it off-putting. Me, as someone who is polarizing and who a lot of people don't like, I don't get surprised when people don't like me. And so that's what I just don't get when like Grizzlies folks are like, oh, people are just hating. They don't like
But the thing about it is, okay, so some of the Grizzlies fans, like the Warriors fans was talking shit about the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies was playing the Timberwolves. Why? Focus on, they was like, well, y'all need to be focusing on Denver instead of focusing on who the Grizzlies are playing. So that's why people.
Sports, we all talk about each other's teams. We don't.
No. But that's why they thought it was hate. That's why they thought it was hate, because people wanted the Grizzlies. It's just like people.
Bro, y'all beat the Warriors in the play-in. Warriors fans are not gonna like the Grizzlies. I don't know what people expect. Yeah, they're gonna talk shit. Like that's what fans do. They're not gonna be like, oh, praise the Grizzlies. Like they're not gonna like them.
But that's where it's coming from, because they were beat in the play-in, and that's where the hate set in.
No, the hate started before that with like all the Andre Iguodala stuff, and then it continues with the tweeting after games talking about strength in numbers, and it also comes like
the Warriors don't own strength in numbers. The Warriors don't own that. I mean, it's not trademark.
What it was about. Let's not play.
It's not trademark. He was talking about them, not the Warriors.
Okay, sure. Okay. Well, if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. So they have taken lots of like subtle shots at the Warriors.
That had nothing to do with the Warriors. They played
I know other people in like Grizzlies media who have acknowledged they are like low key taking shots at the Warriors. So
the Grizzlies, that didn't
are lying to me who were saying that.
But basically, that had nothing to do with the Warriors.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Jaron is not even on Twitter like that.
Yeah, but he went on Twitter to do that, and then Brooks got in his post-game interview and was like, "Oh yeah, they say a lot of stuff." So yeah, it's not just a matter of losing the play-in. Like there's just been little things brewing between these two teams, and it dates back to like how they were acting towards Andre Iguodala. And of course, we're gonna like be protective of Andre. He's our guy. He's part of our core. He won a championship with them. That's understandable.
He didn't want to have any part of the team.
Yeah,
and then it was like they felt slighted.
Well, I understand that, but that was business. And like the Memphis Grizzlies brass should have explained that to them, because Andre was never coming there to play. They knew that. It was always a pit stop for them to trade him. He's not going to put his body at risk.
Then the thing about it is they only said something about Andre until he got on a talk show or a podcast or whatever. And that's when they said something.
But he didn't say nothing bad about them.
No, it's some things that he said that they didn't like.
Right, but he didn't say anything bad about them, and it had nothing to do with them. Like they were taking it personally. For him, it was business. Like the idea was always to get Andre to another team where he can contend, because they had to let him go. The Warriors did not want to let him go. We didn't want. That's why he's back on the team now. But they could not keep him, because to get D'Angelo Russell and to get a max salary spot, they had to let him go. So that was not something they wanted to do. I understand that's not like the Grizzlies players' business, but that's what it was. It was all business, but they took it personally, and it was just business. And like, I get from their perspective why they were upset. So I'm not even mad. But all I'm saying is he's our guy. So when they start talking shit, of course, Warriors fans are going to be protective. All I'm saying is I can see their side, but you have to also understand why Warriors fans were the way that they are. So this is not just about losing a play-in. It goes back. It's been stuff brewing on both sides. So it is what it is. We're not going to like love the team and shower them with praise, and that's fine. And y'all fans don't do the same with us. I had Grizzlies fans all year. Oh, John Morant owns Steph. He's your father. Like, like they were doing the same shit. This was not one-sided. So like Warriors fans were talking, but so were Grizzlies fans. It was a mutual thing. It was mutual. So I just wish we just call a spade a spade. That's all. And now the two teams have met up in the playoffs. So we will
see. And then it's just like they can settle it.
Right. So we will see who is victorious. Yeah. But just know I expect if the Grizzlies win, their fans are gonna come talk shit. I expect that. And if we win, they should expect the same thing is gonna happen on the other end.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
So it's like to me, this is all normal stuff.
But some people take it overboard.
I agree. I'm not tagging no players. I'm not talking about people's families. Like to me, I keep it to sports, but whatever, that's the day and age we live in, like with Twitter. I've never tagged John Morant or any player I've never tagged any players ever for any reason to like go at them. If I do tag a player, it's like, oh, for a positive thing, but it's so rare. I don't tag players. So like, I definitely don't do it to like spiel negativity at them. That's not my thing.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I am so hungry and I'm tired.
Yeah, we're about to wrap. Thank you for being on. I'm happy too that you were able to come on because like, I definitely want the Warriors fans and Twitter to see like, it's not like a real beef between us. Cause I know
no, it's not.
Like, yeah, like we're cool. Like I support you. I'm gonna still retweet your stuff, and I hope you do the same for me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't just do it to do it, but like I read Sharon's work. I think she's a great writer.
I appreciate that.
And you guys should be reading her work because she knows what she's talking about. So thank you for being on. May the best team win. I know. I mean, it's a little different for you because you covered the team. It's a little different for me.
Thank you for having me. Usually I don't like get on camera, but I got on camera for you.
So I appreciate that.
But whatever.
But like as a person, but you're from Memphis, right? Like you grew up.
No, I'm from Mississippi. I've been in Memphis for like 19 years.
Okay, so but you feel like an affinity for the city, though, right? Or no?
I mean, yeah, like it's my city.
Right.
Well, it'll be 20 years next year. It's my city.
Right. So, I mean, I know I get it. Like you cover the team, but there's a part of you that has to at least like want them to do well. Right. I mean,
yeah, because it's just like you watch them grow. Like you do want them to be well. Do it.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I actually prefer when writers have a connection to the team than when it's just like some national person talking about them. I don't know if that makes sense. So I kind of
it seems like the people who cover the team daily, they have more insights on the team than the national people. Because that's why I tell people support your local sports writers. Support them.
Yeah, because you're down on the floor and you're in Memphis, so you see like on a day-to-day like what their impact is to the city and the players and the connection. So that's why I really enjoy reading, your work. So thank you for being on, girl. Go get your food. My dinner is on the way. So I will be seeing you on the timeline, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the series.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.